Good evening. Oh, I pressed a button. That's a good start, isn't it? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to MRC to what is a wet Singapore qualifying. Oh, we absolutely love to see it. It is Tier 2, it is Singapore, and very excitingly, the championship can be won tonight, which I will go into the exact rules for which could lead to Sociopath winning his title tonight. But for now, I am joined on comms by none other than Mr. Hodgson. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Pretty good, thank you. Very good indeed. How exciting is this? This is so cool. I mean, we're probably going to get it in an hour or so's time, so I really shouldn't laugh too much. But
yeah, no, that'll be calmer, won't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's a street circuit at night, a quick street circuit, and we've got the wet weather. Wow.
And the championship can be decided tonight, so that just makes it even more interesting.
Yeah, it does. There's a lot of connotations out there that can really swing the title. Like I say, we'll go through it and at some point. But yeah, apparently it's a wet race as well. Full
yes!
Andrew already wants to cry.
Yeah.
This is, like you said the championship can be decided with 2 more races after this one to go of the season. But it may not be. This is the point now. Wow. I mean, there are going to be 1 or 2 drivers who are going to be out of contention, unfortunately, as of tonight.
Yeah.
But, this is so exciting.
I can't wait for this. This is going to be a super interesting race.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it? And it's going to be interesting to see now the changes the drivers make in their setups for a wet setup. And just, oops, here's Nick goes straight on into the last chicane. But yeah, who fuels the car, as we all know, for quite a few laps in the wet to just feel their way through it all.
Yep.
And just sort of search for the grip and who fuels for 4 laps, 5 laps. It's going to be a really interesting qualifying session, this one, and of course, fraught with a lot of danger. We were practicing last night. People said it's, we would have lost a few wings and wheels and whatnot, because it is a very tricky circuit on traction at the moment, this one.
It is, and you talk about setups. I mean, quite often on setup, you'll put your wings up by sort of 4, 5, maybe 6 clicks when it's raining. It's not really an option at Singapore, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm running 50-50 anyway.
I wasn't far off, and then I think if we have it, then I think it's pretty much it's a Monaco setup, isn't it? You sacrifice those straight lines, the straights that we have in the straight line speed, but just on the basis that there is no DRS now.
Yeah.
This is going to be a tactical battle, and I think this is going to come down to not just in qualifying, but also in the race itself, just who doesn't make the mistakes, who is able to be smooth and quick, and just keep it out of the walls, basically. And we noticed as well last night, there's validate your times as well.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Singapore is 100% a race of attrition. Yeah. The aim is to survive.
It is, absolutely. And Andrew and I were in the commentary box on Friday evening for X. And, normally in real life, of course, it is a very hot and humid race. And difficult for the drivers down here, but obviously, to be fair, it was very warm where I was sat on Friday. Not so much tonight, I'll be honest. It's cooled down quite a bit, but which I'm sort of relieved for in a way.
I sort of looked at Doris and thought 142 sounds like a pretty decent lap, and then there's Doris on a 140.5.
Yeah, this is. I think we're going to see quite a few topsy-turvy lap times. I think we're going to have a few that are in those, like the Alex there in a 43s, and I think we're going to see some around that mark, and then suddenly improve by 2 seconds at the next run, and then just as we said, the fuel starts to come off a little bit, but then they just start to get that the confidence and the feel for it. The tyres start coming in. The inters obviously take a couple of laps usually to get working, and yeah, this is going to be a fun one, but it doesn't look as though it's raining. Well, actually, I said that. I was looking at Sociopath or the Anderson Bridge, and it didn't look like it was raining too much. And then I go on board, and yes, it's raining.
Yeah,
but
it is definitely raining
already. Yeah, there's a line forming though already.
Yeah, it's not wet. Like, it's not the sort of conditions that make you squeeze your bum cheeks and hope for the best, but it's not ideal.
No, it is not. It is not. It's, we know that the walls are an ever-present danger and an ever-present threat. There's a few corners here that you really can lose the rear on as well, so under acceleration, and this is now one of those that it's just planning your lap. It's planning on even more so where to push, where to, the gear selection as well. Everything's got to be really, really thought out, and you've really got to have that feel now of your throttle response, your input and braking as well. It really tests drivers this evening.
Let's have a look at Armar. He's 14.5 at the end of the middle sector, so he's slightly down on where Nick BT was at the end of the middle sector. He was about 13.7.
Yeah, and I was just on board with Andrew, who was... he'd invalidated his lap somewhere at the start of his lap, and then he was held up down the next straight by a Ferrari of... which would be Flaherty, unfortunately, Mamedev, not with us this evening. But,
yes, unfortunately.
It is. So I'm going to go back to the championship's potential.
Yes.
Where on earth did that go? Where on earth was it?
In the comms chat.
I went to the wrong chat completely. So, Sociopath, currently in 11th after his first run. If he outscores Friddy, who isn't racing, so basically if he wins, that will help. Then if he outscores Armour by 20 points, who is racing and currently in 6th, and either is champion if either Nick Mamedev, who isn't racing, C8 who is, and Flaherty if either of those guys win. Or plus if Loppy doesn't win and get the fastest lap.
So as you see, there are a lot of permutations, or whatever the word is, to actually getting the title done today.
Apparently I've got the mother of all echoes, okay. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure. I can hear myself through your speakers a little bit. I'm not sure how. I hope if I move the microphone a little bit.
It didn't sound like you were echoing to me through my headset, but that doesn't mean anything. Doris with a 39.4. He is finding some pace.
Yeah, Nick on his second lap really improved as well to a 40.3. So those times are going to start coming down now. There's a few drivers there in the high 41s and the 42 from Red Car. So this is going to be interesting. Apparently Dev's joined the session. That'd be interesting. See if he can take control of a car.
Indeed.
Just heard it from Chris. Hopefully my microphone's a little better. I did move it slightly.
I mean, it sounds fine to me, but apparently that means absolutely nothing.
No, I'm not sure. Don't know. Who knows?
But yes, it's nice to see Ryan back. As you mentioned, Red Car Rambo, it's nice to have him back and racing again. And he's a second up on his lap currently. So this could be a pretty decent lap from the Rambo.
Yeah, this could put him up at Doris at the minute.
Now, he seems to use the qualifying in the wet approach that I'm always kind of scared to try. He leaves his 141.1, that's very nice. He leaves his ERS on none, and then just uses overtake when he needs it.
Yeah, I've heard that from a number of drivers that say that keeping it on medium or none, because of the power, the extra is 120 or so horsepower that it gives, that it can spin the wheels up too much in the wet conditions. So you put it on to none and just use the power when he's in a straight line. He needs the traction and that acceleration. And it helps the car rotation as well. So it's
Okay.
interesting to take that approach. So yeah, it's quite an interesting one.
Let's see what single track can do. 30.3 first sector, which means absolutely nothing to me because I've done 0 wet practice at Singapore.
No, we used to do a wet practice session. Ryan used to host
We
it.
did.
Amma goes into second.
Ooh.
Yeah, I quite liked it at times. It was useful.
Yes.
Especially at the tracks where you needed it, like this one. Spain, Spa, a few others, Silverstone.
Yeah.
Then otherwise, yeah, it's difficult. You don't sort of need it.
No, not overly. I'll tell you what I miss. Do you remember way back when we used to do trial sessions and we'd do a practice and then we'd do a qualifying session and we'd do a mini race streamed?
Yeah, they were good fun, those. Yeah, we used to do little bits, didn't we?
Yeah.
Mixing it up during the week, and yeah, you might would do some of the practice sessions were races as well at the end. So yeah, it was good fun. Those we used to do sometimes like 5-lappers or a 25% race.
Yeah, absolutely. A 39.1 for Nick BT. So the track is ramping up slowly.
Yeah, and interestingly, that's his fifth lap in total, I should say, on those tyres. So sort of his third flyer. And that's it. As I mentioned, the tyres are now starting to really come into their own. His fuel will be quite low at this moment in time. So that's a good lap and a really good lap. And he was in the 42s, I think, to start with, or 43s to start.
Yep.
And obviously, big chunk that he's gained from there, able to find the grip. And that there is definitely a line forming around parts of the track.
Ooh, was red car very nearly loses it. That was a very well controlled drift.
Yeah, Ryan's pretty good at that. He's one of the smoothest drivers, but at the same time, he does quite like it to slide on him a little.
Yeah. I mean, it's the really annoying thing about this game is that at times, oversteering so much that you're actually kind of drifting around the corner very occasionally actually buys you time.
Yeah, I think we were discussing this last night where we got so much wheel spin out of some corners that how has that actually helped? And it's so strange that it can actually help you. And I think we see it in esports quite a bit. And if we ever go on board with the likes of Benny, Ugoni, Saviour, Chris is another one for that one as well. That they do light the rears up, and it works. And I have been reliably informed by a former teammate of mine that in the wet conditions it can really help. It's not a problem if you're in a straight line already, and if it's sort of a controlled wheel spin, we'll call it.
Yeah,
it does get you a lot of time.
I can confirm that it does, because do you remember when we were in Tier 2 and we were at Austria? And it rained really late in the race.
Yes.
I was just drifting my way around that track and somehow managed to hold on to P1, so can confirm it helps in the wet.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I don't even know if I finished that race, I'm not going to lie. Probably not.
I think you did.
I don't know, I can't remember where I was. I remember the race, I don't remember exactly where I finished.
Who have we got on a lap?
Now finished. Put a lap up into 7th. He's put a fresh set of intermediates on. So, if it's going to be raining for the race, what's going to be interesting is who's got the tyres left. Who's going to try to get through this session on maybe one set of tyres for most of the session, and then maybe use another set right at the end, just a one flying lap, and see if it'll grip up for them. Pardon me, Nick's done that, and he's sat in the pits, but waiting with a fresh set on
C8 Luvo with a 38.9.
Yeah, that's a really good lap, and I think that could still be beaten.
Yes, definitely.
I really think we could see that come down now. A few drivers leaving the pits on fresh inters. G-Star, of course, our tier 1, but there we go. Wow!
Oh, whoa, 37.2. What a lap from Doris.
1.7 seconds quicker.
Oh my gosh. That is a serious lap.
Yeah, I'm going to follow on board with our championship leader, who's now starting another flying lap. Probably be his final.
Oh my gosh, there's only 2.5 minutes left.
I know.
That's flown by.
It really has. It doesn't take this long when we're racing it. It seems to take longer. This is quicker when you're in the commentary box.
Yeah, a lot quicker when you're in the commentary box.
There's a lot of dry line that's appeared, especially through the first sector. Oh, about level with his time.
What he doesn't want to do now is push too hard and make a mistake.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it looks very neat. This part of the middle sector, nice and steady on the throttle. Doesn't want to get the two-tail happy. Not using a lot of his overtake button or his ERS at this moment in time. So
I think he might be hoping to make it back round.
Yeah, exactly that actually. I think he may have sort of bailed on this lap and just doing another cycle and then going again. So yeah, I think he might be at this point. No, well, to be fair, saying that, he's 29,000, sorry, up on his previous. And there's a lot of traffic in his way. And if he is going again, which he will get time to do, could get hampered by the Williams ahead.
Yeah, it's gonna be close.
It is. He needs those Williams to push on as well. No, build on the last sector, so now he's going to push. But
we'll jump on board with Sociopath in a little bit. Let's just see what Armar can do for a first sector. Oh, he is being aggressive, really throwing his car around there.
Yeah, all to play for now, especially when we're getting to the real nitty-gritty of the championship.
2/10 up in the first sector, and Sociopath is also 2/10 up in the first sector.
Yeah, I'm keeping on board with the leader and seeing what he can do. It's going to take a monumental middle sector, I think, to get close to Doris's time, but this is one of those we've seen Sociopath a few times this season not have the best qualifying sessions, but come through and taking podiums, if not the win. So it can, well, this man can do it. Federico is definitely pushing on.
Here comes Armar to the end of the second sector. Williams behind him is getting a beautiful toe. 1.2 seconds up for Armar.
Wow.
A second up, so Armar is currently favourite over Sociopath in the final sector.
It is single tracks in fifth. Redcar puts it to 6. Best he's going to do is Flatty up to second.
Here comes Armar. What's he going to manage? P3. And here comes Sociopath. P9.
That just shows the gains everybody made on that last lap.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Ryan was in 5th at one point. Ryan's now been bumped down to 10th.
Nick BT is 1.2 seconds up. This could be very, very close to pole if he has a good final sector. Here he comes. Round the final couple of corners now.
Oh,
37
Alex.
Dead from Alex! 37-2 from Nick. He nearly lost it in the final two corners.
Wow. I saw Alex and he was sort of 2 seconds up in the middle sector. Followed him through the last sector and he was just hanging it all out there. Wow.
My gosh. So, let's just bring up those rules that we had about how the win can happen. So, Friddy's obviously not here. Needs to outscore Armar by 20, who is currently 5 positions ahead of him. And then Flaherty needs to win, or C8 Lou, Nick, or Mahmood.
Now, apparently Mammadov joined the session, so if he has...
He hasn't qualified.
Yeah, so I don't know if he just couldn't take his car. Let's see if it's
Maybe.
Maybe we'll see. Let's see if he joins the grid.
But here is your starting order for the race. We've got Alex in pole position, followed by Doris, Nick, Flaherty, Armar, C8 Lou, Airways, Single Track, Loppy, and Sociopath in P10. Followed by Redcar, Kisa, G-Star, BitW, Smit, Vitalso, Mornster in 17th, and Jackster bringing up the rear.
Quite interesting that, especially with Armour ahead of Sociopath, Nick in third. Hopefully Mammadov can join, and then that's a lot heavier rating.
Yeah, that's not looking good. I'm gonna be honest.
It's one of those when you get to this point, and obviously we have a little interval, that you click on your strategy, and instead of saying intermediates, it says wets.
And you go, oh no.
Exactly. I mean, the spray round here is going to be absolute torture for everybody.
Yeah, that's poor tier 2s. The last time we were at this track, they'd put a blooming bug in the game that made the smoke absolutely disgusting. Now the smoke is fine, and they're going to have ridiculous amounts of spray.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the smoke looked like it was something off Minecraft, didn't it?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Particularly in Extreme, where everyone was running no assists.
Yeah, one lock-up and that's it. You could not see a single thing ahead of you.
Yeah, turn 1 on lap 1, where about 80% of the grid locked up. It was not a fun experience.
No, I can imagine. And to be fair, I think we'll have the same in Tier 1. A lot of drivers cause no assist as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we might see that. It's quite interesting. I'm just looking at, obviously what we're looking at the screen. The first one there is the Red Bull garage. With the light on red, I wonder if I'll actually change during this race.
I shouldn't say it, but oh my god, that made my weekend.
Oh, it was brilliant. I mean, I know we shouldn't be biased, but, well, we are.
We are, because it's Red Bull and it's Max, so, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I've sort of grown to appreciate what Max's talent is and how good he is in the last season or so. And especially at the start of this season, dragging this car up into, and obviously taking a race win last week, but of his talents. But yeah, still it's just the way the team does business. It's just nice.
Yeah.
I'm just not a big fan. Really not. So. Yeah, it's one of those, but I'm not going to be technical over it. Stop going too much in depth, because I'm sure we'll have some haters at some point, so it's not.
Absolutely.
But Martin in the chat's already said he loves the wet, which he is very strong in the wet conditions.
Yes.
And apparently it's going to get a bit heavier during the race.
Oh, so we could well be seeing full wets by the end of this session. If we're not already.
Yeah, good.
It's very hard to tell from the pit lane.
Yeah, that's it. It is difficult. So I can't wait to see what we have.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting race. I mean, this track is very much known for safety cars in the F1 game. You've got to factor that into whatever strategy that you're doing. That you're probably going to have a safety car at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is it. I think, like I say, I think most drivers, use 2 sets of the intermediate tyres in qualifying, which is the usual really, unless you do a very quick one on 1 and just takes up the top layer off and get it to 1 or so % of the wear. But you get 4 sets of that. You get 2 sets of wet tyres. So that's going to be interesting in terms of if it is going to get heavier.
Yeah, indeed. Those who used extra sets may actually get lucky and just be able to go to wets later on in the race.
Yeah, absolutely. It usually pushes into a one-stop strategy with these. They usually will go, so will the wets actually, about half race distance. There was a time where you could pretty much take 1 set of tyres the whole race distance.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could hang them on for so long and just pray that a safety car was going to come at the point that they were dying.
Yeah, which would be pretty much quite late on, wasn't it? It was, you could
Yeah.
really just hang on to them, and there we go.
And we're on inters, except for G-Star, who's gone for wets.
I can't remember the new rules now, especially in wet. Obviously, G-Star being tier 1.
Yes, very true. You make a valid point.
But I know there are new ones that were trying, so obviously G-Star was able to qualify this time. Oh, Vitelso disqualified. Oh, he hasn't moved off the line, that's why. Oh, Mamadou left the session, so maybe he couldn't take control of his car, I think.
Yeah,
which is a
that
real shame
does
for that
happen
one.
if you join in quali. Sometimes it just will not let you take control of your car.
Yeah, it's a strange one, that one. I wonder if it's just because it was late into the full session. I'm not sure. I'm not 100%.
No.
Well, potentially could mean that's Mamadou out of championship contention.
Yep. Ooh, Doris had a big spin on the formation lap.
I was just looking at that, and I could see 2 Hasses.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm sure we're missing somebody in the middle.
Yeah, Doris has had a bit of an accident on the formation lap, so he's well, I mean, maybe it's actually not the worst thing for him, because he'll heat up his tyres, he'll be the last one in his grid box.
Yeah, that's true. And, I mean, this is what we were discussing as well. Tyre pressure's a key thing, even more in the wet, of course, but a real key thing around here, because as though it is a quick track, we know that, but the corners are generally a second to third gear corner for majority of the time.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not one that always takes a huge amount out of the tyres. And in terms of keeping the life in the tyres, keeping the heat in the tyres is the hardest part.
Yeah. Absolutely, particularly in the wet. These corners become so slow that the temperatures can just drop so quickly.
Yeah, absolutely, it really can. As Alex is trying to test his braking and just managing to lock up straight away.
And we're coming down to the grid now. Oh, I've actually got a good camera angle for once for the off.
Yeah, I've had one from on Singapore before, and I'm at the bottom of the first corner. Couldn't see a thing.
No, absolutely not. So here we go. It's 5 red lights, and we are away in Singapore, and it's a really good start for Doris. Not a great second phase, but gets him alongside. Ooh, Alex had to go off the track trying to avoid him, and that gets Nick BT alongside as well. But Doris will hold on. Flaherty and Armar too wide as well, going down towards turn 3. Flaherty stays ahead. Airways gets past single track. It might be wet, but these drivers are fighting hard already. Oh!
Jaxer and Monster.
Oh,
I think
no.
Jaxer sort of exited turn 4. Monster hasn't got damage, but Jaxer does. He was spun into the wall, looked like I was watching at the back there was a bit of snaking around from a few drivers. Bits,
Yeah.
Smith, I think, as well. There was a few movers and shakers through that, and I think, Jaxer got a lot of missing both end plates on his wing. That'll have to be a pit stop. But so Monster had to back out a little bit, and I think Jaxer was on the outside through turn 4, and looked like he came across a little bit into Monster. It was a difficult camera angle, and nothing Andrew could do with that one at all.
No, Alex has had a huge moment and lost 2 places over the Anderson Bridge.
Wow, and also Sociopath's dropped a spot. He's now down into 11th.
Yeah, he is. That is not helping him try to win the title tonight.
Biggest gap is sort of where single track is at this moment, but the no DRS. Oh, not sure why. But yeah, just saying that the DRS, you can lose quite a lot of time through it, and there is a kick Sauber pitting. That is G-Star, because of the new rules, has to pit at the end of lap 1. So he is doing that, which is great to see. In terms of abiding by the rules, not the fact he has to pit end of lap 1.
Absolutely. But now it seems to have all calmed down a little bit.
Yeah,
Bit gets past Smith. Amar is right up the back of Flaherty, though. He's going to want to get the moves done and get as many points as possible over Sociopath while he's down in P12.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Armour racing even Sociopath late on as well this evening, because they've been showing some really good performances in Tier 1. Obviously, both of them, chances are they'll be up next season.
Yep.
And in one way, I'm not looking forward to that, because they have been blistering in this season. So really good, strong seasons from both of them.
But the advantage to next season is that the playing field is leveled. It is a brand new game. No one knows how it works, and we all have to figure it out together.
Absolutely. I mean, you had the beta as well, didn't you?
Yes.
For the player testing. I used it a little bit. I think there's one more test end of the month, I think.
Yes.
I think it is, and hopefully get some more proper running in it. And I find, I think that was Alex went straight on at the final chicane. It was. So, but yeah, it does have a few different ways of handling it. Is quite a bit different than what we're used to.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, personally, I really liked it. I liked the new handle model. Obviously, we're not going to get too in depth about it, because we do agree to NDRs when we take on the playtesting, but it's looking very, very positive from where I am.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it as well, to be honest. I did it. I feel the same way, and yeah, it could be an interesting one, and I'm going to be interested to see how the lobbies work. I'm interested to see if that's going to improve the stability through the lobbies. And Flaherty goes very wide. But there's a few
Sociopath's alongside Kisa, but Kisa is braver and braking, but then runs slightly wide. No, Sociopath cannot get the move done yet. Yeah, very nice defending.
On traction, didn't he? It was from Stephen. He is very good at that as well. Stephen's a very good defender. But yeah, a few gaps forming, and who was that? That was Bit going very sideways. Singapore slinging and drifting.
Yeah, very, very easy to do around here.
It is. Stability in lobbies, yeah. What I mean by that is just sort of when we have the different glitches in the lobbies that we've been seeing in recent times, and mainly this game. That's all I mean by that one.
And of course, the new game is new gen console only. It's only PS5, so we can hope that will have a positive impact on lobby stability.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, was this the first game that did crossplay, or did the previous game? I can't remember.
No, the previous game did as well, yeah.
Did it? Right, okay, sorry.
We just refused to touch it.
Yeah, we did for so long, but in that case they've had a good year, well, 2 years, to stabilise that as well and to improve that. So, yeah, hopefully that will help. Going back to the racing here, there's a lot of gaps formed. Red car falling off the back of Loppy by over 3 seconds. Smith, Vital as well. Monster's close to the back of Vital. And then we've put this the top two, and then that's a 4-second gap as well to Alex and Flaherty. So there's quite a few interesting gaps. Look at these top two. Wow.
Yeah, they are absolutely... A, they're flying away, and B, they are keeping each other very, very honest.
Yeah, they really are, but both of them sliding around, whether it's the front, whether it's the rear. It's almost Torval and Dean-esque at this time.
It really, really is. Can Nick get any sort of exit to try and take the flight to Doris? No, Doris gets a very nice exit. Jackster is out in the pit lane.
Yeah, very early on. Don't know if he'd had any more spins or a few more moments, but had dropped a lot of time after his pit stop, so it could have possibly been that way.
Oh, Alex hits a wall and lost an end plate. That's not as much the end of the world in a wet lobby as it is in a dry, but it does allow Flaherty through to P3.
Good evening, Ugoni. We are well, thank you.
Oh, good evening, Ugoni. Lovely to have you in the chat.
Oh, it was 22 was the first. Yeah, 22 2 games round. Sorry, I don't know what I'm having a laugh at, but I'm guessing it was me not knowing much. In my bad memory, I think
That's fairly standard for Hodgie.
Pretty much.
Oh, Alex runs really wide, opens the door for Armar, but he just can't quite get enough of an exit to do anything with it.
I'll just see that. I can't bear. I like that.
Oh, Airways and Single Track also having a big battle here.
Yeah, with Loppy as well for company.
Yeah.
Sociopath really has got through Soze, but that's a big gap. He's going to have to try to get himself within the upper reach of the top 10 at this moment.
Yeah, it's not looking good for him winning the title today.
Alex got really slidey as he broke at the end of the Addison Bridge for the hairpin, and I think he hit the inside wall and then ghosted. Has he got damage? I can't see. Yes, he is missing an M plate, Alex.
Yeah, he's it's not the end of the world in the wet, but it's not ideal.
No, I think especially around here because of the high downforce it's needed. But you're right, and as well, you are going to need that. The medium speed corners in the wet are going to really hurt, but it's where the slow corners you should be okay to be able to get round it. It's this part of the lap, the end of the lap, and probably through the first sector as well, that's really going to hurt him massively.
Ugoni says, in the last few races I'm replacing practice with Tier 2 live. How nice it would be to be good enough to not have to practice.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So is that you're going to say now I'm going to have 0 setups, I'm going to make a setup at the start of qualifying for Tier 2, run it to whatever the rules are that of course we've got, and then run it for the race and then make a change for the race. I don't know.
Possibly. Or his setups are just so good that he doesn't need to do any changes to them.
I think I tried a TT Ugoni setup once. And this
did you nearly die like I did?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So oversteery. I was like, how do you drive this?
I have no... Chris is the same, and Benning's the same. You're right, they are so slippery, so slidey, and I have absolutely no idea how they are so fast and how they control it. I just can't do it.
They are inhuman with their ability to control an online F1 car.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm pretty sure Ugoni's got a G29.
No, I think he's got a T300.
Oh, do you have to a T300?
Yeah, I think he's had a T300 for a while, Ugoni.
Ah, okay. No, I've gone back, and there's not many battles. These gaps are really starting to form.
Yeah, the only battle really is Single Track, Airways and Loppy.
Yeah, and I've been watching Single Track this lap. He is sliding all over the place. Every time he hits the brakes and the last phase of the braking, the rear starts to kick on him and slide. Yeah. And it's great to watch, but probably a little bit hair-raising for Martin. I can sort of hear him now.
Yeah.
This is oh, here's T300s on since Brazil in F123. Okay, my bad.
See, I know what people in this league use.
Yeah. What's happened to Alex? Oh, big off.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, all the way down to P9.
Yeah, and a lot of damage on that front wing now, on that left-hand side. That is, I think, pretty much all of it's gone now. It has.
Yeah.
The bottom plane of it. So yeah, that now is that's just not turning that car now at all.
Yeah.
That's going to have to be that's forced an early pit stop, I think, for our pole sitter.
Question is, could you take a fresh set of inters to the end at this point?
I don't think they will go that long. I mean, you could. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they'll feel very nice towards the end.
It'll be twitchy bum time by the end.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got to be behaving a little bit like Single Tracks, Bambi on ice, sort of booking Buckaroo Yeah, I think it is possible. I think the race strategies that came up before the race was the one stop about 17
Yeah.
to 20. I think were the was the for the one stop, and then the two stop was sort of around now. I think it was. So
Okay.
it was suggesting no, but who knows? It could definitely happen.
Yeah, indeed. We'll have to see how it plays out. Tell you what, Doris has some brilliant straight line speed. Nick just cannot get anything done down the straights.
Yeah, and Smith's also been in the pits last lap. He's now down in 17th, but he's put a set of the wet tyres on. So that's interesting to see. I'm going to keep my eye on that, just see how his car looks and behaves.
If I'm riding on board with someone, it doesn't look like full wets to me yet.
No, there's quite a lot of a dry line through the majority of the track, especially this last sector now. I can see full dry. Wow, as soon as he hits the brakes, lock up straight away. Yeah, there's quite a major dry line happening around here, and now whether that's the way obviously the game's set up in terms of the humidity, and already on that lap's going over down the start finish straight to the wet side of the track. So yeah, I think he's struggling with the grip on the wets. I think he's just not got the confidence. So the heat in them, but that car is not wanting to turn at all. So difficult choice, I think, there for Smith.
Yeah. Sometimes when that sort of stuff happens, you sort of take the risk, but unfortunately it doesn't always work out.
No, exactly. And interestingly that Nick is right behind Doris still.
Yeah.
But also sets another fastest lap.
Yeah, he's I think if we saw Nick in some clean air, we'd see some real pace, because he looks very, very confident.
Yeah, it really does. And I'm just going back to... Ooh, okay. I'm looking at the race director, because we saw Alex, for example, take a few lines, shall we say,
Yeah.
and not on purpose, I don't think. I think, turn one, of course, for example, and but has managed to get away with it if you're slow enough. You can get away with any track limit warnings, but there are only a couple of drivers who have had any track limits. There's a few warnings for collisions, those slides on the first lap.
Yeah.
But otherwise, there's only one driver on 2 warnings at the moment, and a few.
Okay, people are doing quite well then.
Absolutely, yeah. Jackson did replace a front wing, then retired in the pits. Smith has replaced his front wing and gone to the wet, so that's another thing that he's done as well. So yeah, Alex is, of course, he had half a wing, so had to pit. So they're the only pit stops so far as well.
I would probably think around lap 15, 16 will be the time we see people start thinking about coming in.
Yeah, I think you're right with that one. I think we're going to... that's interesting. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at a few more parts of the race director and where everybody is sort of holding on at this moment in time.
Yeah.
It's quite an interesting bit of a read, but I'll keep that to myself, of course.
Yes. Armar, interestingly, is starting to close that gap down to Flaherty a bit now.
Yeah, and you mentioned, of course, the potential pit stops in it. There's still a few laps to go on that one, but this is now where that sort of the tyre wear starts to kick in. There has been a yellow flag. And that
was
was
Smith.
Yeah.
I think he's got more damage. Does he? No, maybe not.
A lovely helicopter shot, but no, I think it's okay. I think it looks okay for now.
Yeah, no, actually, he's fine.
I think the wets are not working very well at this moment.
No, they're probably, in these conditions, I would suggest they're probably overheating quite a lot.
Yeah, especially with the dry line that's pretty much around like 99% of this track at the moment. So I think, yeah, the wets probably not the best ones to, though, as you are, like you say, cooking them a bit. They don't have the capability of the contact patch to give you the grip and get the heat into them as well. And obviously then once you're sliding and you have to slow even more for corners, you're just then going to lose so much temperature.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll tell you what, I'm just going to have a look at C8 and Louis. He's okay at the moment, but in terms of his front wing, I wonder if he had a bit of damage because single track and Airways Loppy have just driven up to the back of him so quickly at this moment.
They really, really have. Single track has found a lot of pace in the second half of this stint.
Yeah, he has, and he is quite good at looking after the tyres and keep them going a long way. So.
Oh, that looked very borderline for not getting a warning there from C8, Lou.
It could have been. But everyone watching, don't forget hit the like button as well, folks. Takes you seconds to do, so please do just hit the thumbs up. That would be fantastic. This battle now is starting to get interesting because I think Sociopath's going to creep up to the back of this train as well shortly. And
he's getting there.
See if Loppy will. Yeah, he is. He's definitely closing in. It's going to be interesting to see if Loppy will play the team game. But Loppy, of course, was in with a very outside, granted, shout of keeping his championship alive. Oh, Lou!
What happened?
He got a big slide under braking. Single track had to really back out of it. The corner that used to be the Singapore sling. He really got slidey, and single track had to almost grind to a halt. You could see him sort of trying to look and then hoping that Lou was going to ghost, but Lou managed to hold on to it. It was sort of a slow half spin. But yeah,
and single track had half a look, but
yeah. And this is the problem now. This is the tricky point with the lack of grip that they're all going to have on lap 11, and Sociopath has gained a second this lap, so that shows how much time that cost everybody.
And Armar's right up the back of Flaherty again.
Yeah, this is it's starting to get interesting now because of the tyres differences as well. It's going to be really good fun to see now who's held on to them, who can hold on when they are a lot more worn as well.
Yeah, if you've worn them a bit more by being one of these brave people who likes to slide their way around a wet track, do you pit early and hope for the best, or do you put up with a heavy tyre wear and lack of grip?
I think the temptation is definitely there to pit early.
Yes.
But then of course the lighter fuel loads may help you later on. But it's that trade-off and that risk of doing exactly the same thing again until the end of the race, where, like you say, people who just happen to look after the tyres just that little bit more can really start coming at you. But we are finding it very difficult. Oh, single track has lost it! Oh no!
Oh my gosh, he has!
And Lou, we had the beautiful helicopter shot again. Lou had half a slide. I think single track was trying to predict what was going to happen, and he has got damage, lost an end plate as well.
Oh,
I think
no.
single track was trying to predict what happened the lap before, and he got the slide and couldn't recover it and hit the wall. And I think Airways clipped the back, and he's missing an end plate Airways as well because of it. I saw the most he didn't ghost in time, single track.
Absolute nightmare for both drivers.
Yeah, and because of that, Sociopath and Loppy are through on both of them. And Sociopath got through in his teammate. So Sociopath from 10th is now up to 6th.
He
can't believe his luck.
I was going to say, that is a very fortunate turn of events for Sociopath.
Absolutely. And Loppy getting very slidey as well through the final corner. But now, Armour, if in 4th, when you have the 5 people, 2 ahead of you, 2 behind you, that you can see on your time deltas, he can now see Sociopath, importantly.
Yeah, he can.
He would have been okay with it before. He would have been okay. He's not that close to me. He's not, anywhere near in that respect in terms of the positions. Now it's a whole different matter. Airways has pitted because
Armand nearly loses it as well.
It's that corner.
Yeah.
Everybody at that corner.
I think that is the point that the tyres are going, no, can't do it.
Yeah, it's quite surprising. Just that same place, Lou was a lot more careful this time round, must admit. And Yeah, that's interesting. But Airways has put the wet tyres on. Single Track's obviously pitted with his missing front end plate and just decided, I'll put the fresh tyres on, which is a little bit early, but maybe showing that, yeah, that wing's just not feeling very nice at all after the slide.
Yeah.
Too much wear. But yeah, Single Track back on the Inters, Airways on the wet tyres. So that's going to be an interesting development, I think.
Again, if I ride on board with someone, it doesn't look like full wet conditions to me yet.
No, I agree, and I think actually I just managed to cut through the field, and Carl, going down what would be the straight after the Anderson Bridge, he's going a little bit offline into the wet tyres. Now, it is meant to help cool the tyres, but man in second place and Armour both pitted.
Yes, they have. Slightly earlier than I was expecting, but maybe they feel they can make it work.
Yeah, I mean, the Inters should be alright towards the end now for this fitting at lap 14, I think. Yeah, this shouldn't be too bad, really.
You're not far off halfway, and with the lighter fuel, you should be okay.
Yeah, you could be. You could do for that one. So, this is interesting. I'm just going to keep on board with a few drivers in the midfield and see how they're finding the conditions at the moment. But Nick coming out of the pits in 6th, right behind the two Mercedes boys. That's going to be a good fight.
And his pace has been phenomenal this race. So this could actually really, really hurt Nick being here if he gets held up for several laps. That really opens the doors for Doris.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that of course that gap was only half a second. But I'll tell you what,
Yep.
The grip that Nick's got. He's all over the back of Drill Voyage. Welcome again. He's doing practice for Wednesday, so he's not in the gym this time. He was in the gym on Friday while I was watching myself and Monster to commentate on the.
Oh,
you! No, go good.
And he got a good traction on exit as well. Is he going to have enough to get past Loppy in the traction zone? Yes, he is. Loppy does not fight that one too hard.
Yeah, Loppy looked like, he could have tried to brake. I think just sensible in these conditions that he was going to have to take that corner. The chance of locking up and having a big collision. So that was actually really smart play from Loppy there.
Yeah. Doris pits.
Where's Nick coming down the pit straight? Where is Doris just leaving the pits? This is going to be tight. I think Nick's got it. He does.
Nick's done it. The undercut has worked beautifully for Nick.
Yeah. Oh, Doris. Oh,
Whoa!
big. I was riding on board, and so were you. And wow.
Holy moly!
So Doris has lost. That exit of turn 3 hasn't helped. But about 2.5 to 3 seconds in that one lap, and Nick had to get through on Loppy as well.
Armour, interestingly, has also undercut Flaherty.
Oh, yes.
So that's worked out a dream for him in this situation, because it's really, really difficult to attack in the wet, but defending in the wet is a really quite enjoyable experience at times.
Yeah, it can be. You have that. You can dictate where to brake. You can dictate the line that you're going to take. And Nick.
Sorry, Nick making a move on the Anderson Bridge on Sociopath.
Yeah, I missed that completely. That must have been
what a
brilliant move. Yeah, the grip difference that he's got is just incredible. And Doris has got the traction.
Yeah,
trying to go around the outside of Sociopath now.
And he's already closed that gap right down to Nick.
Yeah, this is going to be a battle to the end, isn't it now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Smith is not having a fun time, unfortunately.
No, poor guy. Vital's pitted as well. So the only drivers not to pit, now Loppy has pit, is typical. Sociopath, Red Car, and what happened to Carl? He tried to pit Carl's pit as well, so Sociopath and Red Car, the only two not to pit yet this race.
Yeah. So we should have seen all the pit stops at that point. You wouldn't expect anyone to go for a 2-stop really here.
No, I think people who pitted very early, Alex, for example, I think he could potentially have to take a two-stop.
Yeah.
8 laps already on those Sinters, so I think he could be forced into it a little bit because of the damage he had, of course. But yeah, I think everyone else could be a one-stop.
Yeah, I imagine it would be. There's no massive cause for a two-stop around here.
No, unless you do, like you say, you do get that damage, I think. Otherwise, yeah, you're pretty much on anything happens, but we haven't jinxed it. We're not saying anything.
No, just that thing
Yeah, that thing.
that hopefully we won't see today.
Yeah. We've done quite well with this a few times round. Actually, I'm just going to double check something. No, okay. I noticed well, there was one particular driver. Obviously, I can look at that because it's not me on my screen that can see. Did underfuel a little bit. I would have thought by now that the fuel light that is amber would have gone off, but it hasn't yet for this particular driver, who is and hit the wall.
Oh no!
He just didn't seem to be having. We just mentioned he had to pit early. He's just not having an evening at the minute. And after his qualifying session, it must be so frustrating for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, is Ryan going to play... Yes, Ryan is going to play the team game for Amar here and let him through.
Yeah, unfortunately got a 3-second... he got his third warning and the first to hit the 3-second penalty. It's going to be interesting to see what Ryan can do about Flatty behind. Alex has joined him on 3 seconds as well, but Alex has pit, so that's... I hate that. If you go into the pits, you can get a 3-second warning if the game means
Yes.
It wouldn't surprise me if Alex keeps clean for the rest of the race to potentially put the race director in the stewards and ask for removal of that. Unless he made a mistake, of course.
Potentially. Oh, Ryan is defending so hard against Flatty here.
Yeah, you can see him really playing that game, can't you now? I'm actually looking at the battle of the admins, actually, in 9th and 10th.
Oh, yeah.
Keza and the fresher, 2-lap fresher tyres, so not much difference in the wear, but Martin had some really good pace, well both did, had some good pace early on, so this is going to be an interesting one. They're not too far from Loppy as well. It's that gap to C8, the 10.5 second gap, that's really just hit the split, and then Mo's sort of on his own as well in 12Cs, having a solid performance at the minute. From about 17th, 16th on the grid, so he's up in the points, just keeping his nose clean, which is what he needs to do, just manage the gaps. What have you seen further on?
Flaherty's gone through on red car, who has gone in the pits. Interestingly, Sociopath still hasn't pit.
I wonder if he's playing that potential game at this moment in time.
The game of the one thing that can help him in this race.
Absolutely. And if it did, he could potentially pit and come out probably ahead of C8.
Oh, he'd definitely be ahead of C8. He'd unlikely get ahead of Flaherty, but would definitely be ahead of C8.
Yeah, I don't actually know how long the pit stop is here, because it's a slow pit lane, of course, with a street circuit.
Yeah.
It's only
37.
Who's had incident somewhere. Oh, that was Alex, I think. Again, it is Alex again.
Oh, he's having a race to forget, bless him.
He is, and he put the wet tyres on as well. I think he'd run out of inters. Oh, it's not a good one for Alex. And wow, as soon as he hits the brakes, oh wow, that didn't work at all. You see, he hits the brakes and just goes. The car just didn't stop. Just as soon as he tapped the brakes, both front tyres just immediately locking.
Oh, virtual safety car.
Wow, and where is Sociopath in all that?
Sociopath is in the complete, kind of in the right part of the track. Yeah.
Third sector, this could work out quite well for him.
Certainly he'll come out ahead of C8.
Yeah, he will at this moment. It's interesting to see where Loppy ends up with all this as well, where he ends up with his teammate. He does pit. You sort of had to, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, you gotta take that opportunity. I mean, there's no guarantees that it'll stay out for your whole pit stop, but you've still had a good gain in that time.
Absolutely, yep. So, fresh inters. And where's C8? C8's
It's
going
going to
to the
be
final
close, mind.
corner, yeah. But because of the
Delta.
C8 had to, the Delta, C8 had to back off a bit, but
Smith
just
got to
gone
drive
green.
through, but C8 actually got out ahead.
Yeah, that was very close, but Sociopath now going through turn 3 he's got out ahead of his teammate, importantly for him.
Yes.
So he has gained quite a bit, but obviously he's now going to be very quick towards the end.
He's got to rely on that tyre delta now to really start closing that gap to Armagh.
Yeah, absolutely, he does. Ryan, interestingly, in his pit stop, put the wet tyres on.
Interesting choice.
But Martin in YouTube before we set off said it was going to get potentially a bit heavier later on.
The rain certainly looks a little heavier, but the track itself still doesn't look full wets to me yet.
No, there's no. Usually you can tell when there's sort of puddles forming, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Surface water you can really see, and Ryan already driving offline to keep the tyres in that window. I don't know if it helps much. I've tried and I didn't really see a difference.
It's very minimal.
Yeah, it's meant to be there, but I don't know. But I mean, it can't hurt. I think in this
no, absolutely.
point of the race and this, but yeah, he's not far from the second McLaren, but the lead McLaren is still tucked up behind the Aston Martin.
Yeah, he is. This battle of the admins goes on.
And they have closed a couple of seconds to Loppy.
Yeah, they have. Kiesa's one of these drivers who has a very quiet, very sensible race and just slowly makes the progress he needs to make.
He does, yeah, and I think he was desperately unlucky last time out in Japan. I think I don't know if you had a moment there.
He did, yeah.
Through. I just looked like you got the wheels spinning up far too much then. We must have jinxed him. We'll leave him alone.
I know. Sorry, Steve, that was unfair of me.
I see you're getting conduct points tonight.
Ah, well. I've had worse.
Airways on the charge back. He's close to the back of Monster. But Monster, he's got 33 seconds to G-start, so he could be safe still for 13, so still some good points for the Aston Martin boys.
Yeah, having started in last, getting himself up to P12 is a nice little race for Monster.
Yeah, he's definitely getting a few places and can still be happy. I know he doesn't like wet conditions.
No.
The best of times, so...
As most of us don't.
No, absolutely. Unless you're a bit strange, like Martin, like Bit, and I'm probably going to guess people like Ugoni, who probably like it as well. Honestly, if we have this tonight, I might do it. I'll probably end up like Jackster or Alex.
Bets on which one of us ends up DNFing first.
I'm skint, so I'll take your bet.
But yeah, the field has gotten quite spread out now, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's an interesting part now, 10 laps to go. It's an interesting part of the race now, who is going to try to eke some of their tyres out towards the end now. And, a few of the drivers must have been feeling it a little bit earlier, because there's a lot of the people Smith has retired. And what are the virtual? That's a full safety car. It's a full safety.
Now, does the entire grid pit?
Well, if you have even a lightly worn inters, like I used a lap or so in qualifying, this would be ideal time, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, it would. This can really, really spice the race up now. Nick was enjoying a nice little gap to Doris, which is now completely neutralised.
Yeah, it has, and this has also brought CA to the back of Flaherty, Armour to the back of Doris, Sociopath in there as well. And this is, yeah, the top two. Well, Nick's going, Doris, yeah, everyone pretty much is going to pit, aren't they now?
Yeah. If Nick goes in, Doris will go in. If Doris goes in, I'm in. It's just a domino effect.
Absolutely, and I think that's what we have at this moment in time. I think we are going to see a big flurry of pit stops.
Although, if you're Sociopath, and you've pit quite recently, do you risk the chance of staying out, as you've only been on your tyres, what, 2 laps at this point? 3 laps, maybe? Do you take track position?
I think you do. I think there's no point in Sociopath pitting, and he is staying out. You've only done those 1 or 2 laps. The tyres will be on 2, maybe 3%. You're going to
actually,
around the safety cars, so he has stayed.
I think he might even get Armagh here. He does, up to P3.
Wow. So that gamble really paid off. Pitted under the virtual and then that safety car coming out, that's really helped. Doris has gone to the wet tyres.
I can only assume he's used all his inters up between quali and now.
Maybe he just didn't trust the lightly worn inters.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't trust them, and everyone else. I mean, I think everyone has just used that, like one of those lightly, as we mentioned, a lap right at the end of qualifying. So yeah, they may have 3-4% on them.
I will say,
that's fine.
I think he's definitely doing a gamble here, because the dry line is slowly disappearing now.
No, I haven't seen that, so I'm going to ride on board with him and just. Yeah,
it's slowly disappearing. Is he gambling on around lap 28, 29? Everyone's going to be feeling like they need full wets.
I mean, this could be genius. In fairness, this could be absolutely genius.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like the dry line is pronounced, and it, you know, when it's a dry track, of course, the colour completely changes, and it's not at that as it was earlier on. It's not really at that colour either.
No.
So, yeah, that's a good spot. Yeah, it could be.
So we could be getting to the crossover point. Maybe his engineer even said that they're at the crossover of tyres.
Yeah, that's when it really makes it difficult, doesn't it? You know, do you trust that, or do you make your own judgment for the feel that you've got? That's a really tough one, and I'm sure in that last sector I did see really like quite a long way offline, but a few sort of little puddles there on the track. I'm not 100% if I did see that, so I'm going to find somebody else to go on board with and see in that sector. Yeah, I kind of think I did. So I think there are a few surface puddles now.
This is going to be a very, very interesting end to the race now.
Yeah, absolutely. Red car didn't pit. He's on 5 laps on his wet tyres, but they'll be okay to the end now that they're in the crocodile themselves.
The question you've got to ask is, in these conditions, because if we're honest, it's not full wets yet, how quickly are those full wet tyres wearing?
Well, that's a very good point. Yeah, and you mentioned in qualifying the heat that you get into the tyres and keeping them in there, and then the grip that they're going to afford you. That's exactly it. This is really uncharted territory, and it's one that I don't even think the drivers have any kind of answer to at the moment.
No. It's pure gambling at this point.
Yeah, it really is. It really, really is. And yeah, I think the stage is set for a very exciting last half a dozen laps or so.
Yeah, I say if the safety car comes in at this point, we've still got a few drivers who are quite far off the back, so I imagine it'll be next lap. So we'll start racing at the start of lap 25, so we'd have 7 racing laps.
This is just working into Sociopath's hands as well. He's not going to take him hardly sort of any life out of his tyres either. So, yeah, this is really, really helping him, probably more than anybody else, you would think, at this moment in time. But we saw during the pit stop phases that the difference in grip is astronomical. So, it's helping him, but are we still going to have Armour, Flaherty, C8 and the like behind, still having that little bit more grip? And what about red car? Airways also on the wet tyres, but also Doris, of course, as well.
Yep.
How are they going to fare? There's so many unanswered questions.
Yeah. So as it stands, just looking at the championship now, as it stands, if it were to finish like this, the only two remaining in the championship fight alongside Sociopath are Armar and Nick.
Wow.
So it comes down to a 3-horse race if it stays like this.
That takes some... that's a good maths.
Well, C8 Lou had to win, Flaherty had to win, Mahmudev had to win in order for him to not win the championship. So, based on where they are on track, I'm making an assumption, which could be wrong. However, I think if Flaherty needed a win and Sociopath is finishing ahead of him, that probably puts him more or less out of the championship fight at this point.
Yeah, I think it does. Interestingly, I was just sort of looking at as G-Star joins the back of the crocodile. I think Vittel is a lap down. Interestingly, Alex is a lap down.
Yeah.
Pole sitter down in 15th, but he's currently the 3rd car in the queue.
Yes.
So it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, Alex is good with the rules, and of course, lap cars must move out the way. But
yes.
What he's going to do with Sociopath on this restart?
Yeah, we would hope that he wouldn't hold up the non-lapped cars.
Yeah, but then also be careful where he does it, because if he does it before the start-finish line, then we could see penalties abound.
Yeah.
The yellow flags. Penalties.
Yeah, you've got to commit to the safety car restart and then get out of the way once you're over the line.
Yeah, absolutely. But luckily it's sort of a short run to the line from the final corner.
Yes.
But here we go.
I'm going to do this restart on board with Sociopath, actually. Just because it's going to be interesting to see how Alex plays into this.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going to do it from Doris in second.
And see when Nick goes.
Yeah, I'm going to look at the traction as well and the grip levels between the two tyres.
The safety car is in the pit lane and Nick has gone.
Yeah, went very early but didn't catch Doris napping at all.
So Sociopaths had an absolutely terrible restart. 1.0 seconds off of Doris.
But that'll be as well because of the car between them.
Yeah, true.
Then Doris, big slide out of turn 3. Kept it going.
This could be a very, very difficult stint for Doris if it does not start raining hard.
Yeah, and interestingly, Alex is still racing. He hasn't sort of moved out the way. I thought he might have done down the main straight then. I think this might be a little bit dirtier. Is hampering Sociopath a lot. Single track now. Joining the 3-second club. And it's all getting a bit tight and dicey in that midfield.
Alex has moved out of the way. He has released Sociopath.
Yeah, but 1.4, but we'll see the difference in tyres now and how they can fire them up and the overall grip that's going to be there.
God, Armar just looks that little bit more confident under traction.
Yeah, 3-lap difference in the tyres, of course. Some of those were, well, most of them were under the safety car. Well, all were under the safety car, actually, weren't they?
Yes. Flaherty's not had a great restart. I wonder whether he's struggling to get the heat in those tyres.
Yeah, then it just comes down to confidence then, isn't it? That because
Yeah.
you've been driving so slowly, you sort of get the eye and you get your focus when it's when in these conditions and the grip's there and you know what to expect. But when you start slowing down, it's a whole new ball game once again. And Nick's checked out in front, 2 seconds.
He really has. I don't think those wet tyres are working.
No, but Sociopath's not able to do anything about Doris though at this moment.
I wonder whether we're at the point where the wet tyres are slightly overheating and the intermediate tyres are slightly cold.
Oh, yeah, that's a very good point.
So neither of them are really in the right window at this point.
No, that's a good point, but Ryan is, of course, he's dropped a lot of time to C8 as well. But Loppy, single trap behind, can't do anything about it either.
Vitalso's had a spin on his full wets.
Yeah, I'm on board with Loppy, and he seems to have quite a bit more grip than Red Car at this moment in time. Ryan seems to be not doing everything he possibly can to basically get the car turned by the looks of it.
Yeah.
But already this lap, Nick's taken another second out of Doris.
Yeah, indeed. Nick is absolutely flying away. Oh, Sociopath is really struggling to keep on track, and that opens the door for Amar. Surely he's not going to send it into the final 2 corners. No, he is a sensible man. As Sociopath runs wide out of the penultimate corner.
Yeah, I think that you're right there. They just crossed the white line. That could have been a warning. I'd probably said it is.
This is getting very, very interesting now. I think Sociopath may just be experiencing a little bit of struggle with his tyres. Maybe they've started graining.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, they do that. Still the inters. But yeah, he's struggling. Obviously, Doris is keeping that gap quite well at the moment in time. But now Flaherty and C8 have joined the party. Who's going to be on the podium?
Yeah, it could be any one of 2 down to 6, really, at this point.
I think Doris has made a mistake because now it's only 0.8 of a second. That gap's halved. So Doris has definitely made a mistake in that tight middle sector. I'd imagine it was a Singapore thing where we have a lot of drivers making the errors.
Yeah.
Oh, he's sliding all over the Anderson Bridge, Doris. He is not enjoying those wet tyres. I think it was a gamble. I think it was a gamble worth taking, but at this moment, don't really think it's worked.
He's holding on to P2 for the moment. He's obviously, unfortunately, with this gamble, thrown away the win, but he's not without a shout of holding on to P2 at this moment.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. Evening, Colin. Thank you for joining as always. But yeah, this is it. An interesting one. Single track on Loppy. Single track and Loppy still side by side. Oh, that's going to be close. Martin had to give way. Looked interesting.
It! Well done for holding on to that one.
Absolutely, yeah. That could have easily gone round on him. Also with G-Star as well.
The place that Doris really seems to be struggling on those wets is Sector 1. Then he kind of gets it together a bit towards the middle of Sector 2.
Interesting. How about that? Because Sector 1 is, well, 1, 2 and 3, and then your long turn 4, that's it, really.
Yeah, but 1, 2 and 3 are very intense.
Airways and G-Star have swapped positions.
G-Star being a good higher tier reserve.
Yeah, I'm not sure what other penalties he's actually going to get towards the end of the race. I'm not 100%. But he's trying to get Airways, who is on the wet tyres, get after Monster, and that battle resuming as well. But I'm just trying to work out. 1, 3. Monster's not out of the realms of the possibility of that 3-second penalty at single track if he gets his pace up a little bit. So there's still another position possibly there for Andrew. Of course, a great podium last time out, and one I know he really enjoyed.
Good.
In Japan.
Japan's a great track when it goes right.
Absolutely. It is. And it's so bumpy, though. It does
Oh,
not take it out
so
of you.
bumpy. When you've got a Fanatec or something with that level of force feedback, it is just not a fun experience at times.
No, it really isn't. And I think by the end of it, I think I had about 3 laps to go. I was battling with Chris, Loppy, and Airways, I think it was. Or it might have been Armour. And honestly, by about 3 or 4 laps to go, I completely lost my vision.
Oh my gosh.
It was sort of one of those, you know, when you get a bit dizzy, you've just been concentrating so much.
Yeah.
I just got to that point, and I had to sort of give my head a bit of a shake, really, just to try to wake myself up.
Yeah.
Because it was such a hard race and such a good fun race. But these battles now, and I was on board with C8 and Armour, Flatty, C8, drifted through the entrance of the final corner, and it was just mesmerising to watch. It was just it wasn't even understeer, obviously, it was just 4-wheel drifting.
Yeah. Neither one of these drivers is giving less than 100% right now.
Yeah, they really are. And Monster has actually closed a bit to Carl. Carl's made a mistake somewhere on this lap, dropped quite a bit of time to single track.
Oh, yeah.
But that's also allowed G-Star back through on Airways to get close. Alex with 3 seconds. It has definitely been a race to forget for this man. Really
I think Sociopath's tyres are really struggling right now. He's fallen off of Doris again, and Armar is quite literally pushing him through this final sector. Oh, and he runs wide again! He's opened the door! Is Armar gonna stick it through there? Yes, he is! He's keeping alongside! Oh, he can't quite get it! And Flaherty gets through! Armar nearly loses it!
Wow! And Flaherty's trying to have a look as well at Sociopath in the turn 1, not close enough. That was very, very close. Very brave from Armour. Sociopath, I think, saw it, gave him as much room as he possibly could.
Yeah.
But these conditions, you're always going to sort of understeer into the car alongside there on the outside. And I mean, Armour did very well to keep that car in a straight line. But this battle's not done ahead of him.
Flaherty's coming for Sociopath now. And gets the move done down the end of the straight. Sociopath tries to have half a look at cutting back, but can't get it done in these conditions.
No, Flaherty just needs to get the car stopped, though. He's going deep into a few of these corners, trying to keep as much speed as he can, but at the same time, Sociopath's sort of hitting apexes, you know, trying to avoid curves as much as he can. But while Flaherty is definitely running very wide, but there is he's keeping that pace up, though. The corner speed that he's able to still carry around the outside is working, but that's tight.
He tries to stick his nose in at the end of the Anderson Bridge.
Yeah, Flaherty got a big tank slapper on, drifted into the braking zone as he hit the brakes, and yeah. I think Sociopath wasn't trying to stick his nose in there. I think he was just sort of forced into having a look.
Yeah.
Wow, this is close now. They've dropped. I think this has given Doris second place as it stands.
It has, yeah, but this battle for third might not yet be over. Sociopath gets a brilliant exit out of the final 2 corners. Can't quite carry enough speed to get a move done into one, though. Oh, Armar tries to stick his nose in on C8 Lou.
This is all going on.
Every single one of these drivers, 3rd to 6th, is still a championship contender, and neither of them wants to give it up.
Absolutely not. And it could go anywhere at all at the moment.
One mistake from one driver, if Flaherty, for example, was to spin it with Sociopath right behind him, that could take 2 drivers out right there.
Wow, yeah, to think about that as well. I mean, Nick, coming over the Anderson Bridge now, what a race he's had, hasn't he? He's been battling with Doris since early on and got that pit stop time beautifully. And yeah, that race start at the end just worked perfectly for Nick. Coming into the final sector now, final lap, and Albert's just dropped off the back of C8.
He has a little bit. Maybe he's had a small moment.
Single track's
out!
Over the Anderson Bridge.
Oh my gosh! What a time to lose it, single track!
Oh yeah, he is right on the bridge. Oh, Martin, right in the last lap, half a lap.
Oh, let's just watch Nick come across the line. What a race from him. Flaherty, as it stands, will hold on to P3.
Doris goes backwards off the line, as he did.
Nice. Sociopath, C8 Lou, Armar ending in P6. He's going to be absolutely gutted with that result.
Yeah, I think he is. Where does Ryan end up finishing?
Oh!
Nothing they could do about that. Was the AI car over the line.
That went to absolute chaos.
Absolutely. But it's given bit. Oh, by less than a tenth of a second. P10.
Ooh.
Oh, his game glitch. Martin's putting the YouTube his game glitch. He lost audio and the controls.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
We love this game at the end of game cycles.
Oh, 6 weeks. That's all I'm thinking. 6 weeks.
Yeah.
2 more races. That's it. But what a race we've had there, though.
Yeah. Absolutely amazing race. Wow. And here comes Vitalso across the line. That was really, really intense.
Yeah, absolutely. It really was. And yeah, I mean, Sociopath Driver of the Day, I mean, to be fair, to get where he did was a great result.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
yeah, P10 to P4, really good, really strong result. Only did that one stop as well, taking the first stint, obviously, that quite a bit longer.
Yeah.
Ryan also did a one-stop strategy today. Managed to get from 11th into 9th, so some extra points.
He did really well on those full wets, to be fair to him. Really, really well.
Really, really did. Yeah, absolutely.
So, your provisional finishing, subject to stewarding, of course. Nick BT takes the win, followed by Doris in second. At the very end of the race, Flaherty takes the final podium spot, followed by Sociopath, C8 Lou, Armar Red, Loppy, Kisa Soze, Redcar, Bit, Monster, Airways, G-Star, Alex, Vitalso, Smith, and Jackster. So go on, Mark, who is your driver of the day?
You attempted to give it to Sociopath, obviously 10th to 4th, and battling the way he did with that one stop, really timed it perfectly well and got a little bit lucky, but at the same time really strong race. I think Keza from 12th into 8th as well, battled with Martin for quite a long time. So there's a few drivers out there, Bit getting some good points, having a good few battles, Monster keeping his nose clean and getting some good points from 17th on the grid to 11th. So there's quite a few drivers out there, I think. And I think, to be honest, it's anybody who managed to sort of go penalty free and have the battles they did and get to where they have done, I think just all deserves utmost credit.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with you there. There were an unbelievable amount of really, really great drives today. So absolutely fair play to all the Tier 2 drivers. They showed their absolute class today.
Yeah, certainly did.
So thank you all for joining us in the YouTube chat. We'll be back in about 15 minutes where the Tier 1 boys will be racing around what I can only pray is a dry Singapore, but, you know, no promises. And thank you for joining me on comms, Mark. It's been great to be back on comms with you.
I know, it's been good fun. Really enjoyed it this evening.
So thank you for all for joining us. We'll see you in about 15 minutes. Good night.
Good night.